race.
Okay, so a lot for us to talk about this afternoon with our political analyst, Brian Sobel. And first, Brian, let's talk about what took place today in the Senate. This legislation has really been near death so many times.
Oh, yes.
Here it, though, clears another hurdle. Would you call it a success, maybe a narrow one for the president?
Well, I think he's going to claim success, but this was a procedural allowance in the Senate for debate. But it in no way signals that the game is over or that we even know what the elements of the bill are. They may be using the House bill as a framework, but there was tremendous confusion in Washington today about, beyond what the actual vote was, what the future of the bill is.
So what can we expect then in the Senate over the next coming weeks?
People will put forth some amendments, and there'll be a lot of debate about the bill and that sort of thing. But again, it's all a numbers game, and as each thing is brought forward, each piece of it is brought forward, there's going to be a number of senators who don't like it, don't want it, and that's going to be the problem with this bill going forward.
Will some Democrats offer their ideas during this process?
Well, we'll have to wait and see. There were 0 Democratic votes today for even debating it. So, in a sense, why would they then move forward and start debating elements of it if they didn't want to even have the debate? But I thought John McCain's words today were very poignant. It's time to get back to business. It's time to, again, be bipartisan and move forward and debate together.
Yeah, he was really impassioned today, and he said we've got to start working together on legislation.
Yes.
Do you think, though, here you have this long-tenured senator now, battling brain cancer.
Yeah.
Will that influence people, do you think?
Sadly, no. At the end of the day, here we had a shooting at the Republican baseball practice, and everybody said, let's rally around and, set aside our differences. Maybe that was 72 hours. Washington is Washington, and as it's sort of a next person up philosophy. I noticed in the state of Arizona, people talking about, okay, well, if McCain can't serve, who can? Life marches on, sadly.
Yeah. What do you make of McCain's return today?
Oh, it was dramatic. He's well respected in the Senate. Lots of friends there on both sides of the aisle. It was quite something to watch, actually.
Yeah, we saw him actually getting a big hug from Senator Chuck Schumer, obviously a Democrat.
Yeah.
Let's now shift and talk about Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And President Trump really seems to be relentless in going after the Attorney General. What do you think is at the crux of all of this, and do you see Jeff Sessions ultimately stepping aside?
I can't see how he can remain in his position and be effective when you have the President of the United States rating your performance every day and calling you weak and all these other things. So it'll start to become a place or a time when Jeff Sessions has to take a measure of the whole thing and say, I'm moving along. I just don't get along with the president. But Heather, the problem with it is who comes next after Jeff Sessions? What is that person's mandate? And if that person's mandate is to say remove Robert Mueller, oh boy, we're going to see the fireworks.
Yeah. When you mentioned the president sort of going after Sessions, calling him beleaguered, weak. And my final question is today, President Trump said time will tell when it comes to Jeff Sessions and whether he stays in as AG.
Well, think about it. There he is. It's the sword of Damocles hanging over him, and he doesn't know when the president is going to pull the trigger and fire him, or whether the president just wants him to say, hey, I'm done. I'm out of here. Either way, it cannot be a comfortable position. And for those who are working in the department, that's got to be tough. The top person is clearly not going to survive this.
All right, Brian Sobel, always appreciate